are we finally at the stage of life imitating art? I'm thinking of like that movie Megan from a couple of years ago. Bernd Bornich is the founder of a company called 1X Tech. And they just rolled out the intro video of a humanoid they call Neo. And it's pretty impressive. I mean, you've got Neo walking around the house. I mean, he's like life-size in terms of size. He looks like a human, thus humanoid. And he's carrying the groceries in. He's clearing the dinner table. He's putting the dishes in the dishwasher and all sorts of things. And it's like 20 grand with easy-to-make monthly installments of $499 a month to have somebody to look after you. Here was the launch video in part.
My name is Bernd, and today we're launching Neo, our humanoid for the home.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
I love this song selection.
Neo is a humanoid companion designed to transform your life at home. It combines AI and advanced hardware to help with daily chores and bring intelligence into your everyday life.
When she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away.
As someone who lives with Neo every day, there is no experience quite as magical. So today, we're excited to invite you in on this journey. Pre-order your Neo today at 1x.tech.
Yeah, okay. Well, Elon Musk has a version of this, too, called Optimus. And we got a little bit of a compare and contrast on Optimus versus Neo. I'm not saying this is exhaustive of the humanoids that are available, but this is where it's going. So I said $20,000 for Neo. But there's a 1X Technologies is the company name. There's a 1X Technologies employee that wearing a VR headset that peers into your living room to manually control Neo, I'm told. So that's not a robot, arguably. That's outsourced surveillance. So that's a bit of a concern. Tesla's Optimus should cost similar money, 20 grand, but operates independently. It deadlifts about 150 pounds, lasts 300,000 to 500,000 miles on batteries, can assemble furniture, operate power tools, handle complex tasks. Wow. Operate power tools. Build that little 3-season room you were thinking about. Neo's expert mode reveals the weakness in every consumer robot that prioritizes cheap autonomy over real capability, this tech critic argues. If your robot cannot work without human supervision, it's not a robot, it's a puppet show with privacy costs. Optimus learns, improves, and scales. Neo needs babysitting. That's one distillation. Maybe a little bit more on the compare contrast, as well as just generally on the whole humanoids for the home. How real is this going to be? How quickly? I mean, particularly $20,000 is a lot of money. $500 is a lot of money, but it's not completely inaccessible. So are we going to start seeing these pop up when you go over to your friend's place for dinner? For more on this, pleased to be joined by Tom Williams. He's Associate Professor of Computer Science at the Colorado School of Mines, where he directs the Mines Interactive Robots Research Lab. Professor Williams, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So, I mean, you're talking to a total layman novice here. So, the Neo versus Optimus debate that's at least going on X, is that representative of something real in terms of a stage that we're at now? And if not, what stage are we at?
Yeah, I think that actually a lot of what you talked about in terms of some of these trade-offs about autonomy and teleoperation is right on the money. I think that right now we're at a exciting but also very hype-filled moment in robotics. I've been to, just in the past year, I was at 2 of the largest robotics companies, and it's just humanoid, 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 humanoid. And so to some extent, these humanoid robots are real. They are here. They are coming. But to some extent, their actual capabilities are still extremely oversold. With Neo, for example, you mentioned that there is somebody behind the scenes who is remotely controlling it, teleoperating it, which I would say that is still a robot. And we see lots of robots that are remotely controlled in space robotics, et cetera. But the actual autonomous capabilities of those robots, even the ones that they say it has, are very limited. The company, for example, says that one of the capabilities that it does come with out of the box in terms of autonomy is the ability to open doors, which sounds simple, but I know robotics companies that have deployed robots into hospitals, for example, where doors are pretty standardized, and they still have to work with those hospitals to map out every single door, how it's different from the other ones, how the robot is going to open it, et cetera. And so unless the company is going to be prepared to, do that type of working with every home to figure out exactly how every single door opens, then the vision of autonomy for them, even for that very simple task, is not very close.
Well, Musk said recently of Optimus that they're finalizing the design for 3.0, and he says it's going to have the manual dexterity of a human, a very complex hand, and an AI mind that can navigate and comprehend reality. And that version is going to be made in very high volume in terms of, in terms of retail.
Yeah, I will. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
I think Musk has a history, of making strong claims about his products. I will say that the technique that they're using is, from what I've heard, does make sense. So the technique they're using to train their robot is called learning from demonstration. And so through that approach, you have human demonstrators give demonstrations of how to perform various actions, and then record those, and then AI models are trained in order to capture how to perform that task. And so the reports coming out for the Optimus is they've got human workers who are there, for these long shifts, just doing repetitive tasks over and over again, clearing tables, dancing, etc. And they've got all these cameras filming them at, getting extremely high volumes of data in order to train these models. And it's possible that, we've seen that type of approach work well at learning certain skills at a small scale, and it's possible that with their resources, they're able to collect data at such a high scale that they'll be able to train effective models. But we haven't seen that work in practice at that scale yet, so it's still sort of untested territory. And it really depends on the specific types of tasks that they're trying to train it on. The sheer variety of tasks that humans are capable of is obviously, very wide and difficult to capture no matter how much training data you have. This is why, Google, even with all the resources of all the, videos on YouTube, still has difficulty, training their robotic systems. But they're at least moving in a direction that is in line with the research. So we'll see how it plays out. Is
it the situation now? I saw this comment. Maybe it was from Musk, but maybe it was somebody else in tech. But regardless, the comment was the conversation was about self-driving cars, and the comment was essentially, we're pretty good at making good self-driving cars. Making the technology, the self-driving car is good. It's very difficult to make it great in terms of the operability, in terms of the self-driving feature. Just because of sort of what you were saying is, all of the variables that occur when you're driving, it's hard to sort of contemplate and prep for, merging in a complicated, traffic environment where maybe there's not clear lines of demarcation of the lanes and things like that. So it's easy to get to good. It's difficult to get to great. Is that where we are sort of with humanoids too?
To some extent, yes. Although I think with humanoids, it's even more difficult. The rules of following the road and following lanes is relatively straightforward compared to just moving around in a home and perceiving perceiving objects and being able to reasonably pick them up, etc. And so if you're designing a robot that is, the equivalent of an assembly line robot, where it is performing the same tasks in the same location in a clean environment, whether that is in a factory or whether that's in a home, like loading a dishwasher, for example, that is quite different from if you're expecting the robot to be able to navigate an entire home that's full of clutter, different objects, etc., and be able to reasonably engage with it. And that's especially true if you're talking about a robot that people are going to interact with through language in the home. This is something that my lab deals with, the problem of robots understanding and generating language referring to real-world objects in the environment. And it's complicated just because of the incredible, the sheer scope of how many objects there are in the home, how similar those objects are to each other, and the fact that people will regularly talk about objects that might not exist, or the descriptions they give might not be accurate, etc. And so,
right.
I think, again, if we're in a very clean, controlled environment, then that good versus great metaphor holds up. If we're in a much more free-form environment, I don't think we're even at good yet.
And then you get in a fight with the humanoid. The humanoid goes to his room, slams the door, and says, "You make your own dinner." And then, it just the relationship devolves from there, I suppose. So you're talking about in a factory setting, though, and again, still with robotics. So much talk about this new Blue Jay system that's coming online in the Amazon warehouses over the next couple of years. That's supposed to displace 600,000 Amazon warehouse workers. So that's more of a system that you were describing before: clean environment, repetitive tasks, and so forth. Mm-hmm. But does the technology used in a system like Blue Jay, does it have applicability for something that is autonomous, like one of these humanoids in the home?
I haven't seen the details of Blue Jay. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Well, I just was thinking, like, do systems that are used like in Amazon warehouses that are going to displace like 500,000 workers, they say, does the technology associated with what's going on at a place like Amazon then have applicability for the humanoids in the home?
It really depends. When you're in a warehouse environment, the ways that you can build robots are completely different. So one of the advantages that Amazon has had in their warehouses, for example, right, is that they're able to completely subvert the expectations around robots, where normally you would assume, like if you're directly replacing, a worker, that the robot would be humanoid and it would go and move through the aisles, retrieve something from the warehouse, bring it back, etc. Whereas the model for most warehouse robots is sort of the opposite, where it's these small mobile robots that are just a base driving around. They go underneath the shelves, pop up to put the shelves into the air, and then they bring the entire shelf to the human. So that the human can pick things off of the shelves, right? And so that's a model you can use in the warehouse because you're designing the entire space that doesn't really translate to the home. Now, companies like Amazon, though, what they're trying to do now is, of course, remove that last mile. Say, well, we've been relying on humans to pick and place things off, in that last mile off of those mobile shelves. And so that type of capability, if that's what they're going for, then yes, that would translate into the home.
So with respect, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, the other thing to note here is that, like, when we're talking about these robots replacing people in these warehouses, the actual effects of that, we can look back at a history of automation and we'll probably see something similar, which is that, yes, to some extent, we're talking about robots replacing people's jobs, but to some extent, we're talking about robots changing the jobs of existing people in those warehouses.
Right.
So, like when the very first robots were deployed into GM factories, yes, it did result in in a lot of workers being replaced, but the larger effect was the effect it had on the workers who were already there. The automation essentially was used to force them to work harder and faster and for less money. And so, yes, we will probably see these robots, replacing workers in the factories, but we will probably also see them being used in a way that degrades the labor conditions for the remaining workers who are still there working in the factories.
So just going back to the prospect of humanoids in the home, then, I mean, what I'm gathering from you is maybe not something you want to run out and get for the home this Christmas. So you maybe give this a little bit more time for more advanced versions to develop before we jump in here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure how many people really,
or if you want to jump in, yeah, right,
to do so anyways, right? I think to some extent these robots are really still, even though the price has come down massively, we're still talking about essentially toys for rich people, right?
Yeah.
And even if they do become affordable, as you sort of alluded to at the beginning, there's a hidden cost of surveillance that to some extent these robots, even if they're not terribly successful, they're being used as a tool for the companies to gather data inside the homes, videotaping your homes and collecting the data about what's in your home and what it looks like in order to train their systems later. And in the meantime, not only is somebody watching, but you have to think about that person on the other end and what their experience is as well. I think there actually is a really strong motivator around humanoid robots in the home when it comes to like elder care.
Yeah, exactly.
And helping people age, with dignity and age in place. But like my mom is a care worker, right? And I know that a lot of the value she gets out of that job is spending time with the people she's caring for and really connecting with them. And so you have to think about the experience of the care worker whose job is now moved entirely, essentially over Zoom, over a video call, where they're seeing their care, the environment of the person that they're caring for. And they're doing tasks in that environment, but not really able to connect. And you have to ask, is that really care anymore?
Yeah, right. Well, and then the same thing from the client perspective too. If you can't interact with your caregiver, I mean, is that? Yeah, I mean, so no, there's a lot of unanswered questions. I was just sort of trying to get a handle on where you thought the technology was, and you gave us a good handle. Tom Williams is an associate professor of computer science at the Colorado School of Mines, where he directs the Mines Interactive Robotics Research Lab. Professor Williams, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that you don't have to look far. Signature Bank was founded in Chicago with a simple mission to help companies like yours grow, succeed, and thrive. Their decisions are made locally by a terrific team that knows your name, cares about your business, and invests in your success. That's why Signature Bank is my bank. I'm a customer. As business owners, they knew that local family-owned businesses were not getting the help they needed or deserved. So I invite you to reach out to my friends at Signature Bank today. Write the number down. Remember this phone number, Signature Bank, 773-467-5630, and learn all about this great bank, 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. That's signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank makes commercial banking personal. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation.